If you want to see some results by the end of the day and you've been stuck in your marketing or you're stuck in your sales process, I'm going to just go through some things that have worked really, really well for me over the last 15 years and 1,500 clients. So I promise you, whether you're watching this live or whether you're watching it in on a video later, because I'll leave it up, this will help you if you just follow these kind of three things. It's going to help you a long, long time into the future. And I've created so many different campaigns for every kind of imaginable company at Lending Tree and Intel and Duke University and the Air Force. And it's always the freaking same. It's getting connected to what your actual prospect, who they are, first of all. And so people make this really complicated and they go into this process where like, I don't really know, it's everybody, but it isn't. It isn't everybody. And the easy way to figure that out is to start with, if you already have a business, who are the people that have bought from you before? And then next, you go into the people that you've helped before with your product or service. And by doing that, you can start to get a feel. And what did they ask? What were those first conversations like? Were they looking for a service that doesn't even exist, but when you had the conversation, you realized that what they really needed was something else? If so, then your advertising is going to be for that service that they know that doesn't exist, and you'll have to move them towards something that's reality. And the more importantly, what were those conversations like? And if you don't have those conversations now because you're new and you haven't started in this particular business or for this particular product, all you got to do is go to your competition and go look at their reviews. And as you see their reviews, you will see what the customers that really wanted and they liked, and also sometimes more importantly, what they were really freaking disappointed in. And so that part of the process is essential, because you'll find out in their language what makes a company compelling to them. And that's the outcome of this, right? Because when we start with who we want to serve and what we want to do for them and how that's going to make an impact on their life. And so that's a big chunk of every time I start a campaign myself, is to really figure out what my customer wants and how do I deliver it to them. Just like these videos. I've been doing videos for months now, and they've just all been fun for me. And now they're going to start to have also another additional element, which is going to be connected to a certain type of buyer that might want to some of my services, whether that service is in marketing, whether that service is in AI implementation, whether that service is in training for a somebody in a business who wants to make sure that their team is spot on and winning customers and keeping customers. I've got to look at that and go, okay, what is going to move people towards action? And each platform is going to be different, right? So this particular live is going everywhere. It's going on LinkedIn. It's going on Facebook. It's going on YouTube. It's all over the place, right? And so it's probably going to be different for those different places. And those some messages I might boost later, make a video like this and boost it. Some messages are going to be more just organic like this for fun, because I go live every day anyway. So why not just go for it with something like this, right? So here's the thing. Write down, if you're watching this, take a minute, and you can pause it if you're watching this and it's not live, and write down what you believe your customers' biggest fears and frustration, desires, and habit are. Again, if you have access to any AI, which everybody does, you can get that information. If you don't, for some reason, or if you want a free tool, we have one at Goc AI Assist. And I'll put that in the comments. And it makes a buyer persona, says what their biggest frustrations are and desires are. And you can actually just play with that and start to get to know what's gonna move the needle for people enough to have that first conversation with you. And that's really the biggest key, is to start the conversation, because once you do, it gets much easier. And that's one of the things that I see people really have a difficult time with, especially if they're just starting out, is what is it that's going to move the needle first? And the truth is, you got to try a lot of stuff and not blow out all of your budget if you're doing ads. And so you start small and you test until you win big. The cool thing is if you're doing organically, you can just put messages out there and see what people respond to. Make it easier on yourself. If you're trying to grow, action trumps everything else. You test. It's like Elon Musk talks about, is he's always talking about like failing faster so he could iterate and make better decisions the next time and learn. Same thing here. We want to learn as we grow and get more and test. And when you know what's in their heads and what your prospects and clients want, then it just becomes a lot easier and more effective, because you make less mistakes. Each time, each iteration that you go through, you make it easier for you. So start right now by engaging anybody that you've ever had as a client. And I don't even think you should ask them if you're looking at this and you want some more clients this next month. I don't even think that you want to ask them for business. It's not about a CTA. It's more just a personalized connection with a person, with them. Hey, how are you doing? I can tell you right now, around 30% of all my revenue from last year was from just starting a quick conversation, not about business. How are you doing? How's everything going over there? And then lots of them, they know that it's not a thing that has to be, they don't have to protect themselves from being sold to. And that works really, really well. No sales pitch. Let them bring up the sales pitch, because they know what you do and they're gonna ask you for it if they need it. So you just have a regular conversation. And then the last thing that's going to be about your buyer persona and the messaging to them is, you want to give them what they want, not what you think they want or what you thought the product should be. And that makes sense, because you've probably seen it. You've all been in a store where somebody comes up to you and is like, trying to move you towards something that you really don't want, and it feels like all salesy and yucky. And so by just having a conversation and asking, what's going on? What do you need? And where are you having trouble? It makes it really simple. I had a conversation with a past client today, actually, and what I thought they needed was so far off from what they needed. It was just absolutely nuts. So if I would have went into the conversation assuming I knew, oh my gosh, it turned out to be probably a $5,000 just one-time deal. I thought it was a $200 one-time deal. That it was that I was just making a connection to say hello to them. And the only reason it turned into that is because I had a personal conversation first and figured out what was going on. The next thing is AI. And everybody plays with AI and thinks about it in their business, and is lots of people are good at it. Some people are not good at it. Some people are afraid of it. Some people think it's going to end the world. Some people think it's going to be the greatest gift. The truth is, it's really neither. And the one thing that 100% is true is, if you don't use it, you're going to get stuck a lot more than if you just make it part of your routine. So anybody that's on this call, or not call, on this video, or anybody who is in business and watching this later, make sure you add at least one AI tool to your toolbox. And that's to answer any questions that come up, whether those questions be content for marketing, whether they be, process related. AI is just going to get smarter and smarter, and you want to create your own little AI to help you. And it'll help you create more content, communication on the front end. It'll help you get more customers. It'll help your team communicate better too. Like, that's one of the things that's super important. And whenever I have a client that's larger, that has, multiple departments, it's about making sure that the prospect from the very beginning, the very first piece of communication, has an experience that is expected. I know it sounds funny that I would say that the communication and the experience is expected, but there's a message that goes out that says, hey, do this and get that. And if if the person doesn't get the thing that they want later on in the process, they're going to be pretty angry, especially if they've put in a good amount of money during the interaction, and they've hired you or whatnot. And so you've got to look at your message from the very beginning and look at the entire journey of a customer, and that includes everybody that touches your customer. And AI can help with that because it can make communication easier. And you can create a company profile if you have ChatGPT. If you use my tool, there's a company profile built in that you build with a prompt, and then every piece of messaging that you build out of it uses that company profile as part of the output, so it knows to communicate based on that output. Whatever you do, AI is going to be a part of the future. And if you don't use it, it's going to be rough. It's going to be hard because people that are using AI, it's kind of like not using a car these days or not using the internet at all. It's a part of the future. And the more we use it, the better off we're going to be, especially in our businesses, because that's the place that people really take all of the tools and they start investing time and energy and money into them. And so AI can help you scale both the personalized part of your marketing, and it also helps you scale without adding employees. And so if you're just starting something right now, the amount of research that an AI can do is absolutely insane. I was on the phone with or on one of these lives with somebody very close to me, Judith, and she's doing a master's thesis, and it is you can't write a master's thesis purely with AI, but you can start some of the research and you can do a lot of the work there. And that part, the same thing here. It's like it's doing massive amounts of work for you throughout your process. So messaging, 20 social media posts, 5-piece email write up, things that you would think, you get it. You're watching a conference or you're watching somebody do a talk like this, and they're like, make a 5-piece email and start sending out to everybody that you had for a prospect before. And you think, oh, I don't even know how to start this. Well, start by asking the AI and it'll give it to you in less than a minute. So I'm going to cut this kind of short here. So this only works if you do it. And I want to make sure that you actually make a commitment. So if you're on this, I know there's a couple people on this from different places. Make a commitment now to actually do something. Connect with a past client, connect with a prospect, connect with somebody who you wanted something or need something, and just make a conversation start and have some fun with it. Take a past headline or post or email or something that worked for you, throw it into AI and have it redo it for today. Look at a current news item and ask it to make you a quick post in AI and write it up and make something fun. If you like images, you can go on Midjourney and play with that. But the idea is not to make it tough on yourself. Just freaking do something. We got to get intentional. I had a mortgage company years ago, and one of the things that I always did, and I'm doing it again now because you remember what you forgot sometimes, is you decide at the start of the week what you want to feel at the end of the week. And I remember, I would start by telling everybody in the room what was going to happen. And it was like, we're going to get 15 new loans in pipeline by the end of the week. And that ended up being, 60,000 or more revenue. And it was funny because sometimes I would say 15, sometimes I would say 20, sometimes I would say nothing. And it seemed like it always matched. And so what I would say for you is make sure that you are deciding what you want at the beginning of the week, because my gosh, if you don't, you're not going to go anywhere. And so today is about getting more customers. And so you probably heard something that you can use today. You maybe even said, oh, I can't do that. Do it anyway. Find something to do before you go to the next piece of social media. Find something you can do right now that's going to make an impact on your business and therefore your life. And if it's a company you work for and your job is marketing, that's great. If it's sales that you're doing and that's your job, if you're the owner, or if you're somebody that's an owner that hasn't even started, do something now, because that's the start of everything. It's regular actions every day. The recipe that makes our lives is going to be what we do every day, not this whole like magic trick that someone's going to hand you a form and you just check the boxes. This box is doing something. This box isn't about writing something or listening to anybody else. It's about hopping off this when I click end for you and actually either getting help. You can DM me and get help, or whether you're watching it live or not, you can DM this and get help, or just doing it. DM one of your team members, DM somebody that's helped you in the past. Go to AI, do something. It's really important that this doesn't end up being a wasted 16 or 20 minutes that you spend here, because my gosh, that would be a failure for me. I want to make sure that you do something out of this and create a result. So what is the action that you're going to take, and why does it matter? So think about that for just one moment. Because when you speak from your heart and you decide, because that why that matter parts is brings you into your heart. And when you speak from your heart and you do work from your heart, it makes it easier. So I'm going to give you like a quick three things. First, reconnect with your audience, or connect for the first time with your audience, and start real conversations, not just a promotion. Second, use AI to work smarter and not harder. You're going to dump that writer's block. It's going to make it way easier. Choose a tool. Doesn't matter what the tool is. Choose it and use it every day. Third, make sure everybody on your team or yourself every day and all day can communicate the value you want to deliver from your heart. Because it's the brand isn't like what you say. It's the experience people get as they work with you, and they experience the you, which is your product or service. And even if you work for somebody it's a you that's your product or service. And so that's it. That's my message for today. It's a little bit longer, way longer actually than I think I've ever done. So if you need help, you can DM me, or you can comment in here and you can help each other. You can go to the AI Assist tool on GoMC. But the main thing is, don't just listen, do something. That's the biggest thing that I want to say out of this, is just don't just listen, do something today before the end of the day. So that's it. Enjoy your day, and until tomorrow, bye-bye.